يا ابن الحسن يا ابن
This, we now move on to our third speaker of the day, who is a writer on daily events, well-known researcher. Would request Janab Kalbe Abbas Sahab to come forward. He will be speaking on this topic, the promised one in the present era. Who is the most powerful man on this earth? This talk shall be in English. Janab Kalbe Abbas Sahab.
رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. The topic, who is the most powerful man living on this earth, may sound to be a very inane topic or an inane subject. You might think that it's a very childish question, because we all know that it has to be someone or the other who we hear about regularly being the most powerful man living. However, the reason why we are speaking on discussing this topic is because of an incident which happened a few months back or some time back, wherein I had the opportunity to interact with some youngsters, and I had the opportunity to, ask them this question, just by the way, as in, who do you think is the most strongest man alive on this earth right now? Well, there were replies, varied replies. The youngsters who I met, I asked them this very simple question: who, according to you, is the strongest man living on this planet? As expected, some of you might be thinking, very childish question. But listen to the replies. It will give you insight into the minds of our youngsters. The youngsters started, the president of US, Donald Trump, is the strongest man living on the earth. He justified it saying that he has at his disposal the strongest army and the strongest currency, and hence, and all the other nations abide by his policies, abide by his whims and fancies. So he is the strongest man. Well, there was another youngster who begged to differ. He said Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, he is the strongest man alive on this earth. And he justified it saying that Vladimir Putin has single-handedly brought back Russia from the dumps which it was in after the Cold War, and single-handedly brought back Russia to prosperity. And today he wields such power that there are smaller nations which try to align with Russia. And hence, Vladimir Putin is the strongest man alive on earth. A third youngster, he again opposed these two and said, no, I feel Xi Jinping, who is the president of China, is the strongest man alive on this earth. And his justification was that China controls 60% of the markets in the world. The day China stops supplying goods, the entire world economy will crash, come crumbling down, because the markets will not have anything to sell, and obviously the economy will get affected. So the day Mr. Jinping wants to crash the whole international economy, he just stops supplying goods. Well, that was the third youngster's justification. I asked the fourth youngster, what do you think? And he said, Salman Al Saud is the most strongest man. Salman Al Saud is the king of Saudi Arabia. And he justified it saying that because Salman Al Saud is having a lot of money, he is oil rich, He is someone who has bought the US Army to fight on his behalf. And he can command any army he wants in the world. He lives in lavish homes. He's got so much money. He's got so much power. He's got so much fame. And hence he is the strongest man living on the earth. Well, there was a fifth youngster also who was deep in thought. And when I asked him, my friend, why are you so much, what are you contemplating? And he said, I have heard all the four answers. I was not satisfied by that. I tried to think beyond. And I said, what? Did you get an answer? He said, yes. The answer is, the strongest man living on the planet Earth today is my marja. And well, his answer was quite satisfactory, right? Because the marja is someone who decides or guides us in our daily activities, whether it is namaz, roza, hajj, zakat, or even how do we eat, how do we sleep, how do we walk, how do we talk. These are the issues that the marja-e-taqleed guides us on. Well, I was quite unsatisfied with the answers. So I asked the youngsters itself to negate these strongest living men proposed by each other. And well, I would just like to refer to the ad verbatim discussion which happened. I happened to note it down. The answer opposing Donald Trump's superiority was Donald Trump was unable to save himself from impeachment proceedings, and he did not see it coming. Donald Trump did not see the impeachment proceeding coming, and he was caught unawares. He was proved weak and was only saved after the Senate decided to let him off. Just shows that Donald Trump was at the mercy of the Senate. So a powerful man cannot be at the mercy of someone, right? This is what the challenger said, and everyone agreed. Yes, Mr. Donald Trump, sorry, you are not the strongest man in the world living. Well, obviously, unhappy with the rebuttal about Donald Trump not being the strongest living man in the world, the other youngster opposed Vladimir Putin, saying, Vladimir Putin has been facing health issues, and though he is shrewd and clever, and he has been able to overcome, and he has not been able to overcome the power of the dollar or the technological superiority enjoyed by the US. The challenger concluded that a powerful man should always be able to keep a step ahead of the competition and does not need the support of others to gain the position of power. Well, that sounded plausible, very acceptable. Yes, a powerful man does not need anyone's support. The rebuttal for Mr. Xi Jinping was that Mr. Jinping, the president of China, allowed the manufacturers to use substandard material and has not been benevolent to his own people. And more recently, the coronavirus, he was totally unaware, and the coronavirus, after it took about 1,200 lives, did Mr. Jinping wake up and say, yes, we have a disaster on our hands, but I can't do anything about it. Sorry. So the challenger said, Mr. Jinping, sorry, you cannot be the strongest man. Well, Salman Al Saud, again, the challenger said that Mr. Saud depends on oil. Once the oil dries up, Mr. Saud's money dries up, he becomes a poor man. No money, no power. Acceptable. Coming to the rebuttal about the marja. Obviously, the Marja is a good man, a pious man, a selfless man who does everything for the community, for the public, for the people, not for himself. Does he pass fatwa for, say, suppose making something out of it? No. He tries to make our lives simple. He explains to us the Shariat. And hence the Marja, not being the strongest man, well, we have to listen to the argument. The challenger said, the Marja is able to help people in distress by praying for them, by mobilizing support for them, and at times even contributing from his own resources. Well, we have cases when in Maharaja Ikram, in some of the Islamic countries, have during disasters sold off their own properties to fund rescue missions and rehabilitation missions. So, well, he had to be the best man, the most powerful man. But the challenger said that when it comes to solving problems, the Marja is only able to solve the problems of the people who do his taqleed, not the entire humanity. I had to take you along this entire discussion because it did bring out some important points to identify who the right person is as per our topic. That is, who is the most strongest living man on the planet Earth. Well, let me just wrap up this discussion by saying that based on the rebuttals by the youngsters, we have realized that the most powerful man should be independent of others. The power should not be based on resources which may get depleted or will get depleted at one point of time. His character should be impeccable and without any flaws or faults, should be equitable and just, should not differentiate or discriminate amongst people, should not be in need of others to portray his power or exercise his power, and should not have health issues, should not be dependent on weapons, should be able to foresee the future and take steps to safeguard others from the harms, should be accessible and should be in control of everything around himself and beyond as well. Well, this conclusion honestly paints only one picture in my mind, and I'm sure the same picture will be drawn in your mind as well, that this strongest person, this person having all these characters and one who does not have shortcomings, is none other than our master Imam Mahdi Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, who is not in need of anyone, who is actually the source of everyone's survival, whose survival is the reason why this earth survives, because it is said that without the hujjat of Allah on this earth, the earth will not survive for even a second. And hence, I conclude my discussion with the point that the strongest man living on the planet earth is none other than Imam Zamana, Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. And I'm sure you will agree that if at all you had any doubts in your mind as to who's the strongest man living, because Imam Zamana is still living, present, though he is in Gaibat, he is present on this earth, and hence he is the most strongest man living. Wa akhiru da'wan and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Thank you very much.